History in Baghdad this morning. The U.S. and Iran meet in a face-to-face setting for the first time in decades. It went down just hours ago. Another meeting is now set for Istanbul next month. Joining us now from New York is Raghida Dergham, the MSNBC analyst and senior diplomatic correspondent with the Al Hayat newspaper. Hello to you, Raghida.
Hello, Alex.
This is, I think, sounds like some good news. What's your take on this meeting so far, both how important and diplomatically groundbreaking?
Well, it's very important because now there is a collective approach. This is a rescue effort for Iraq, a collective one at that. It is not about bilateral deals like the one Iran wanted when it wanted only a bilateral discussion over Iraq with the United States. So everybody is worried and everybody is investing in this conference, and it's a good thing. But believe me, this is not about the United States making a separate deal with Iran over Iraq or anything else in the region. Of course, Turkey is worried about its own agenda, meaning that the Turks are concerned about the Kurdish state, a separate state. Of course, the Saudis are worried about the sectarian strife, and they also are worried about the Shiite power in their own countries. So each one is going to this with their own fear. But at least this is not about polarization at this moment. At least for the moment, it is an attempt to rescue Iraq.
And President Bush, as you know, Raghida, yesterday repeated the U.S. position that any thaw in the relations between Iran and Syria will depend on them cutting their aid to the insurgents and the militias inside. How likely do you think it is at this conference that that would reduce sectarian violence?
This is absolutely a must, and as far as the administration is concerned. But I think the president has other things in mind when it comes to Syria and to Iran. He has in mind Lebanon and their support, both Syria and Iran's support to Hezbollah. He has in mind the Palestinian issue, where Iran and Syria have been playing a negative role in as far as the peace process is concerned. So for the United States to have a very large and comprehensive conversation with Iran and Syria, Iraq is important, but not exclusive for the conversation. So I believe, at least in the very beginning, the test right now for this conference is pretty much a test for both Tehran and Damascus to see how serious they are. And don't forget that they wanted this conference, by the way. They are the ones that sought it. They've been feeling the burden and the burn, if you will, of the isolation they have suffered, both of them, one because of the nuclear issue, and the other one is because of the regional ambitions.
So I'm curious then how this is being viewed in the eyes of the Arab world. I mean, you're indicating that do they want a thawing between the U.S. and Iran?
Well, you know, it's very interesting because both Iran and the Arabs, I don't think they want an immediate pullout by the U.S. forces from Iraq. They're afraid what would the aftermath of such a pullout bring about. But I think at the same time, there's a distrust between the Arabs and the Iranians as who is trying to be sort of like buddy up with the United States more than the other. Yes, of course, the Arabs have been concerned that if there is an Iranian-American deal, it will be at their expense. But I also think that the Iranians have been very worried over what they call an axis, an American Sunni axis, given the fact that the Iranians are leaders of the Shiite Muslims. So it's a very complicated issue, but at the bottom line right now that there is a lot going on in Iraq and a lot is going on the nuclear issue in the United Nations. As you know, there is discussion of reaching up and strengthening the isolation of Iran because it refused to suspend the enrichment of uranium. So you have to think of both things going on at the same time.
Raghida, there is so much to talk about. We're going to have you back next hour to further the conversation. Also, I'm curious, next hour I'll ask you who stands to win in all this? Who stands to gain the most?
I look forward to it.
Thanks,
Thank
me
you.
too. Thanks.